Hi everyone, in this video I'm bringing you a quick guide on how we can farm Gear 90s in about a minute. So it is now day 3 of the season. I've just finished the live stream and I've been farming a ton of Gear 90s in a minute on this amazing God build I've made. So in this video I'm showing you how to make this build, why it is so good and why you should also make it. As you can see, we're just blasting through this entire Great Rift and we're just destroying everything in our path. There's an amazing build for early game because you want to farm gear, you want to farm legendary gem upgrades, and you of course also want to farm the new season theme Equine Nightmares. And of course you do the Equine Nightmares by getting Petrified Screams, and so far this season I've had about 50 or so already because I'm running really efficient Great Rift. So if you can also run gears in about a minute or so, you get a ton of Petrified Screams, and you can use that of course to get augments and a lot of Paragon in there. So I highly recommend, if you're playing a Team Hunter this season, to also make this build, as this build is really good and really fast. And I can do about 90s to 100s in a minute to a minute and a half, and the build also scales really well with more gear and Paragon. So it wouldn't surprise me if by end of the season I'm running 100s, 105s in a minute, and then maybe even 110s a minute and a half. So it's going to be a really good build for farming gear, Paragon, and also of course Petrified Screams to do Equine Nightmares. But let's go over the gear and see how everything works, shall we? So that you can also make this build. So to start off with, the weapon Yanks Recurve. Now the only reason we have the Yanks Recurve is because of the resource cost reduction. It can roll up to 50% resource cost reduction. This allows us to basically spin and not worry about our hatred at all. We also have really good disciplined use, and therefore we can spam our movement spells like Smokescreen a lot more. On the Yanks Recurve, don't worry about the secondary. This only applies into multi-shot. Mine is currently 160, doesn't matter at all. You're after a high resource cost reduction, try and get 46 or above. Then you want cooldown reduction, percent damage, and dexterity. For the Quiver, the 9th series satchel, here it is very important to get a high secondary. It can roll between 450 to 600. Try and get at least 580%. And after that, you want attack speed, crit chance, hungry arrow damage, and cooldown reduction. For the wings, focus and restraint, and you ideally want a ring like this. So you want a flat damage roll, crit chance, and crit damage. But something like this early season is also okay, where it's dexterity, crit. For the gloves, get dexterity, crit chance, crit damage, and cooldown reduction. On the shoulders, get dexterity, cooldown reduction, and resource cost reduction. On the helmet, get dexterity, vitality, crit chance, and we're targeting with a cooldown reduction gem. On chest piece, get dexterity, vitality, and all resistance. For the build, Hunter's Wrath, very important, get a high secondary here as well. It can roll between 150 to 200. Try and get at least 190, even 200 if possible, but 190 as a minimum. Then after that, you want hungering arrow damage, you want dexterity, vitality, and all resistance. For the pants, Depth Diggers, again, secondary, very important. It can roll between 80 and 100. Try and get 95 or above. And then after that, you want hungering arrow damage, dexterity, and all resistance. For the boots, dexterity, vitality, all resistance, and armor. For the amulet, Scourge Amulet, try and get cold damage, crit chance, and crit damage. For the braces, Wraps of Clarity, get a high secondary, I would say 48 or above. And after that, you want cold damage, crit chance, dexterity, and vitality. Now, for the legendary gems, we're using Beam the Trapped, we're using Simplicity Strength, and then also Seiston of Vengeance. Now we are playing a pretty squishy build. We are going for really high damage, but we also want to do quick GRs. Now if you are struggling with toughness, you want to swap your Seiston of Vengeance for Takeoff until you get more toughness from either more all resistance rolls or more main stat. But ideally you want like this, but early on you can have Takeoff instead of Seiston of Vengeance for more toughness. And by the way, on all of these items here, like gloves, helmet, boots, whatever, try and get pickup radius. Very important to try and get pickup radius on every single one of these items here. It's going to help you a lot in your speed gears. In terms of the cube, we have Equine Fury here, gives you 25% attack speed and movement speed. We have some Archive Gaze, this gives you a shield when elite pack attacks you. This is how we keep our squirts up. So basically, once elite hits you, you get 150% maximum life shield. This ties into squirts and it's really good for uptime. Of course, Ring of Royal Grandeur allows us to have both the Hunter's Wrath and the Depth Diggers on. And for the spells, we have Prep Focus Mind, we have Strafe Drifting Shadow, Smokescreen Displacement, Companion Wolf Companion, Hungering Arrow Devouring Arrow, and then Vengeance Star card. So all these spells here is a mixture of getting movement speed, damage, and damage reduction. And then for the passive, Tactical Advantage, Call the Weak, Awareness, and Ambush. And of course, for the follower, get the relic so the follower cannot die. Get a Flavor of Time for increased power and duration. Get Nemesis Braces for more elites. An Oculus Ring for damage rings that spawn on the ground. And then you want to pick all the ones on the right side here. So you get cooldown reduction and the Cheat Death. So basically, by using this build, I managed to farm myself 35 screams here. And I also have about 15 or so augments already. So I've gotten a lot of these Petrified Screams, of course, by farming GoD, and a good amount of these has been on this build here. So I highly recommend you guys to make this build as really fun, really strong, and really fast. Also make sure to check out one of the 2 videos on screen now if you want to see more of my Diablo 3 content. So I'll see you in one of those videos. Peace out, everyone.